You're listening to the TransformationCoach.me podcast, and I'm your host, Adam Shively. Let's get after it. Hello, my friends. How's it going out there in podcast land? It's Adam. How we doing? It's the TransformationCoach.me podcast, episode number 45. 45. Can't believe it. We are bringing it this week. Another transformation success story. I've got a 40-pound transformation with my main man, Nick Bragin. He talks about what motivated him to get going. There's a funny story about how it took him a year and a half to get motivated to get going. So you're going to love that. We talk about what is motivating him now, how he's recalibrating his goals so that he gets lots of non-scale victories, lots of weekly wins, whether on the scale or through pull-ups, or how he's crushing his 5K time and how he's setting different types of goals. He also gives you a few tips on what you should do if you're feeling kind of stuck, kind of intimidated, and not sure where to start and how to get motivated and get going. So you're really going to enjoy this episode. Before we dive into that, a quick word from this week's sponsor. This week's show is sponsored by About Time, because it's about time, isn't it? It's about time for a better brand of nutritional products. That's what I was looking for a couple of years ago when I was searching online. I was just kind of sick and tired of all the junk I was being forced to consume, all the chemicals and the processed products and ingredients that were out there with nutritional products and supplements. So I was looking specifically for a better protein powder, and I found that with About Time. I love the fact that there's only a few ingredients and I could actually recognize what each ingredient was. No chemicals, no artificial sweeteners, and it tastes great. So I use their protein powder on a daily basis. I make my shakes, my protein power pudding out of it. We do protein pancakes for the kids. It's a high-quality brand, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Now, they are hooking us up. As TransformationCoach.me podcast listeners, you can save 25%, right? Awesome. So all I need you to do is go to www.tryaboutTime.com, tryaboutTime.com, and when you do your checkout, just enter in the promo code Transformation Coach, all one word, lowercase, Transformation Coach, and you will save 25% on every order you place. We got the hookup. Thank you to About Time, and I know you guys will love the product. Now on to the show. All right, my friends, welcome to another episode. I've got a superstar interview for you today. My main man, Nick Bragin, is on the line with me. I am really, really excited. I haven't brought one of my local superstars onto the show in a couple of months, so I really, really am excited to share Nick's story with you because I think, as always, you'll relate with a lot of the key points that, those danger zones that he's overcome. He's had great results so far, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this one. So make sure you take good notes. First off, Nick, I want to welcome you to the call, man.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So let's first talk about some results. Like, what kind of results have you seen so far with just how you're feeling, how you're looking, how the clothes are fitting, weight, all that stuff? What kind of results have you seen so far?
Absolutely. So I'm looking at my background picture because I'm super into myself now. Just kidding. It's my meltdown results, and just looking at the pictures here, I mean, it's a vast difference from a giant round guy to a less giant, much healthier, much fitter looking guy. So just from the physical aspect in the physical transformation, it's quite visible. But I've replaced most of my wardrobe now. I actually got a new wedding ring because my other one was way too large. And I'm feeling much healthier. I'm setting some personal fitness goals. I'm able to do some things in the gym that I'd never done before, like multiple pull-ups, which is pretty awesome. So there are a lot of really cool new things that I'm experiencing as a result of this.
That's fantastic. And what is your weight loss total at right now?
Right now it's 43.6 pounds, and we're looking at 7 inches along the waist as well.
That's amazing. Amazing. And I love that you have some non-scale victories that you're talking about too, with the pull-ups and all that, and the clothes.
the wedding ring getting resized. One of my favorite moments, this happens to guys a lot, is we at our gym, we do like slam balls where you'll take a heavy ball and slam it down. And it's awesome because guys will lose their wedding rings all of the time. They'll slam the ball, the wedding ring goes flying, and they freak out because they're like, my wife's going to kill me because I lost the wedding ring. So just beware of that, gentlemen and ladies out there. But usually the guys are a little more lazy with getting wedding rings resized, and the women are right on top of it. So it's more for the guys out there. Anyway, back to you, Nick. I want to talk about your story of how you got to the point where you were ready to start doing this and really working on your transformation. So what motivated you? Where was your mindset at? And how did you get to that point where you were ready to initiate this transformation process?
Absolutely. So I've had the opportunity to have an experience at NGPT, the local gym. It was about a year and a half before I really got fired up about what I was doing. And I came to the gym because I had known some people in the community that had gone there and done the program and had some pretty amazing transformations. I mean, just brand new people. And I thought that was pretty cool. I've always been a little bit of a bigger guy, and I'd gotten to the point where I thought, I'm that big guy. I'm the big, goofy, funny guy. And, that's something that you can choose to live with, or it's something that you can be the less big, funny, goofy guy. And I went to the gym. I did a week trial and enjoyed what I did. But I just didn't have something to motivate me to really make it click for me. And so I took about a year and a half of doing my own thing, trying my own thing. That following New Year's, I set my resolution like most people do. And I went to the gym every single day, every single morning, and was working hard and enjoying myself, lifting, doing some things. But I didn't really have a set plan. I didn't have any kind of guidance. And I know something that you talk about frequently is having a solid exercise plan as well as a solid nutrition plan. And I used my strong exercise that I was doing as an excuse to be able to eat whatever I wanted. So I was getting some strength and doing some things differently there, but I wasn't really seeing any results because I was using it as an excuse to gorge on whatever I wanted. So I spent some time kind of doing my own thing. And I was given a gift certificate to NGPT because I still enjoyed doing some classes there, but I hadn't really explored the boot camp or the meltdown process yet. And I went in for a consultation and sat down with Marcy. And this was about a year and a half after my first experience there. And just talking with her, I had some things going on in my life that helped me kind of define what my why was, what my motivation was. And sitting down with Marcy, we kind of talked through what that was looking like for me and what I could do moving forward, setting some action steps and planning out some things. And I had the opportunity. I was able to jump into a boot camp and did my meltdown. And it really clicked. It really worked for me. I had my specific motivation, and everything just kind of took off from there.
Yeah, I'd say, and you just tore it up from the beginning. Now, a couple of things that I want you guys to make note of about what Nick just said. It's a super common experience for people to kind of feel like you have to do it on your own. And like Nick talked about, he did a free week trial. That's what we do at my local fitness facility. We let you try it out for a week, and then we usually kind of get things rolling. Well, he did that, and then he decided that he was going to kind of put that on pause, do his own thing, which is the natural tendency where you get a little bit of external motivation, and then you're like, all right, I can totally do this, and it's hard. It's very, very hard. And another thing that I want you to make a note of is Nick talked about justifying his food with really hard workouts. So he was working out, hitting it very consistently from the exercise standpoint, but you can't outwork a crappy diet. And so many people will project that. Instead of owning it, they'll project that out and say, I just can't do this. Fitness doesn't work for me, or my trainer isn't helping me, or whatever. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm eating more calories than what I'm burning off, and I've got to correct that and get some help. So Nick got to that point, and he knew that he needed to plug in on the different components, the food, the exercise, the strategy, and then being consistent with it. And he has mastered that. Well, Nick, what would you say? Like, you've had really, really strong success with my coaching style, with my program that I put together for you. What would you say? Like, why do you think that you've clicked so well with the nutrition and the fitness regimen that we've put together so far?
Yeah, so I think there are a couple different facets to that. One of it is just my own personal fit. I know that everybody has their own way of doing things and what works for them and what doesn't. And this has really kind of worked for me in terms of just personality fit and kind of the way the meltdown is structured and all of that. Another big key component with this program is really the accountability through our cardio coaching as well as our nutrition coaching, having somebody that you can bounce ideas off of for recipes and send a food log and talk to about what am I doing in terms of my meal preparation and my nutrition. Having someone there to help you and to motivate you as well as hold you accountable has really been key for me. Because like we were talking about with my going my own route, I'm a proud guy. I think a lot of people fall into that category where you don't want to ask for help. You want to nail it yourself. But being able to have somebody there that has gone through the process already, that has shown awesome results to coach you and give you, leave those clues to success that you can follow too. That's all been really beneficial for me.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And again, you're dropping some wisdom here for our podcast listeners. Fair warning to anybody. I've been getting, now that the podcast is getting some traction, the blog's getting some traction, we've been getting more emails, people asking me to coach them or like, how do I get involved? How do we do this? Fair warning. If you guys come on board with one of my programs, it's going to be hard work and there's going to be a lot of accountability. And it's like I say with every podcast, we're going to encourage you to own it every meal, every workout, every day. And we're going to be right there with you. So anytime you are working with one of my coaches, one thing I like to note is that they all start as clients. I don't hire from outside of the company. I hire from within. So a client gets great results. I talk to them about coming on board as a coach. Then they lead by example. And I think that is something that's pretty special as well. And like Nick said, that's something that people connect with where, I respect people that go out and get dietitian degrees and certifications and things like that. But when somebody's lost 100 pounds themselves and they're there to mentor you, it's a whole different ball game. And it's more of they've done it. I can't dish out any excuse that they haven't already faced. And now I've just got to just buy in. And I want to talk about that too, Nick, because you've had 100% buy-in. You've been 100% on board from day one. And honestly, most people aren't like that. So what made you decide to give in and just do whatever your coaches asked of you? As far as like, you're showing up to the workouts, you are not fighting the nutrition, you just are doing it. You're listening to all the podcasts, you're reading the blogs, like you're up to date on all that stuff. Why do you think you have that mindset when most people don't?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think some of it goes back to seeing people who have already had these results. My first nutrition coach, I think she's at a 90-pound weight loss, and my second one was at 150 last I checked. So these are people that have had drastic transformations. And so like you were kind of alluding to earlier, when you see somebody who's already done it, there's no excuse you can make. These people are going to be experts in the process. You can see that there are amazing results right there already. So that was number one. Number two was I've tried other programs that I didn't fit with, that I've seen other people have results with. And so going back to that, just this fits me personally. And then also I knew that I had tried things and I've gotten to this point on my own to where I knew I needed to make a change. And so, at this point, there's nothing more that I can do or try. I really need to be all in on something and try and see if it fits me. And that's exactly what I did. So it's just a matter of kind of surrendering the pride a little bit and just going at it because you have nothing to lose by trying something new. And that's the mind frame I took.
Yeah, I think surrendering your pride, that hits the nail on the head. And I don't know exactly why it is, but it seems like people, whether they're local or online clients, people that jive really well with my coaching style are people that seemingly they've tried everything. And they've kind of done all this. They've done that nutrition program. They've done, this workout. And they've kind of just been beaten down with not succeeding. And then for a lot of these people, it puts a lot of pressure on me because they're like, dude, I've done everything. Nothing has worked. I've seen other people in the same position that you've helped. you got to help. So, but I like it. I like kind of being that backstop of, all right, all the BS, it stops here. All the no results, it stops here. But you've got to give me full control. And that's what you did. That's what you did. So that's pretty cool. Now let's talk a little bit about obstacles, because it's not always just smooth sailing. I think just on a daily basis, we're all throwing a few curveballs. So what would you say would be the one or two hardest obstacles that you've had to face so far, where you've had to make some strong decisions?
Yeah, so I mean, number one is just social situations. There's always going to be somebody inviting you to go out to eat. There's always going to be an office pitch in, or somebody ordered too much pizza. There are family occasions. There are any number of events where, we're a very social society, which food is often involved in. And so just knowing that you have a solid plan, knowing that if, you have your cheat bank, you can work that as well, but also just knowing that you're a part of this awesome transformation process, and to keep the big picture in mind, to not let, one temporary moment make a really huge kind of impact in the opposite direction for something that you're working hard on. That's something that I always keep in the back of my mind, because there's, an infinite number of times when there's just all the great things that you want to eat that you can't necessarily do at the time. And so really kind of working through those strategies is key for me. Another challenge is just kind of in between programs, having some self-accountability. It doesn't come naturally to somebody that maybe gets into a situation where they need some major weight loss and need to kind of revamp their fitness routine. And so working through strategies, having coaches, having family and friends, people who are in tune with what you're doing, and being able to work through that. So you can work with somebody and keep yourself accountable until you're ready to make, self-accountability a part of your own lifestyle. I think those are probably the two biggest challenges that I've faced. And then just also, we get any number of athletic injuries. I play in a rec softball league. I do some running on my own. I work out on my own as well. And sometimes injuries happen. And so finding ways to modify what you're doing and work around potential injuries and other kind of obstacles that pop up, as opposed to making an excuse and saying like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to give up on working out for 2 weeks because I twisted my ankle. We can find ways around that, and that's always a challenge as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love all three of those points. On the last one with the injuries, that's super common. People will freak out, especially if they come from a non-athletic background where they've never really played a sport or done really active things, but then they lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to start trying to move and do some cool things with this new body I've got. And then inevitably something will happen. Like if you get out and push the limits, you're going to pull a hamstring, you're going to tweak a calf, you're going to strain your neck, you might throw your back out or whatever. And, I've seen people react in different ways. I had one of my favorite stories is one of my clients was in my class. She's lost 60 pounds. And there's a move called a windmill. And it's kind of like a yoga-esque move where their legs are a little bit a wide base, and you're leaning to your side. And she just straight up slips and does the splits, and she just tears her hamstring. And instead of, she freaked out. She was hurt. We took care of her, of course. Things like that happen, just freak weird things. But then the next day, she posts on Facebook with pride saying, I've got my first athletic injury, and posted her purple hamstring on Facebook. And people are like, what are you talking about? You're hurt. She's like, I'm proud. I've never actually pushed my body to the limit where I might injure myself. This was just a weird thing. And she was just in there in the gym working around it, taking some spin classes instead of doing her strength training and deadlifts and stuff. And then she's back good as new and no big deal. So the mindset is important. But if you guys are brand new and not really used to being athletic, something will happen eventually, weird freak things. You will slip in the parking lot and tweak something or whatever, but don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So that was wise advice from Nick there. Okay, let's talk about maybe the one or two things that you would consider to be the key to your success so far. Like what's really the foundation that you think you have to keep doing no matter what, so you can continue to have success, and what's brought you the most success so far?
Yeah, I think hands down, we've already talked about it a little bit, but having your solid nutritional plan set up, like you said, you can't really outwork a crappy diet. And so keeping in mind that I'm working hard every day and I can't just blow it on, a couple days of terrible decisions. That's not to say you can't enjoy your life and have a cheat here and there and do things. But really for me, the key to success is keeping the focus on that nutrition plan. In my personal instance, the exercising, the working out, the physical activity hasn't been hard to adjust to, but really kind of making sure that every single food decision I make is a solid one has been one of the most important things in my journey. And then again, continuing to think about what's my next step, what's my next goal, what's my next move, because I'm not there yet. I've had some great results, but I'm not ready to say I've crossed that finish line. And even when I hit that one personal finish line for the number on the scale, you've talked about it already, having other fitness goals in mind as well. And so I'm constantly kind of recalibrating and focusing on what's next so I can forecast and be ready to take on whatever the next challenge may be.
That is an awesome mindset. And I talk about that a lot on the podcast about the non-scale goals and always, the transformation timeline, getting to that point where you form that new identity, that new you, and you're always resetting and recalibrating those goals. So that's perfect. Now let's talk a little bit about goals. Obviously you've hit some significant weight loss. You've got some goals there, but so what are you really aiming at here over the next few months? Like over the next 3 to 6 months, what types of goals are you looking at?
Yeah, I have some pull-up goals for myself. Right now I can do a handful, and I've got a solid number set for that, as well as body weight dips and some weightlifting and strength goals for myself, as well as I do some recreational running on the side, and I've set some new personal bests on my 5Ks. I did a mini marathon a few years ago that was, now I look at that time and just kind of think, well, that was my starting point. And I know that I can blow that out of the water at this point after the changes that have happened. So I'm looking forward to adding that to the calendar as well in the near future, but just continually just pushing myself, trying to set new personal bests with everything that I'm doing.
And the cool thing about setting goals with things like pull-ups and dips and 5Ks and even like obstacle course races, the pull-ups and dips are you're moving your body through space. So if your performance improves on those, it's very likely that you've lost weight, you've lost body fat, you've gotten stronger. So that, if that goes well, then other things are usually going well. Same thing with running. Like I know you had posted about was it your 5K time that you just like blew out of the water?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I shaved my personal best. I shaved the first time I bested it by about 3 minutes. And then this last time I was like another 3.5 minutes off of that. I mean, it's just been drastic. And to be honest, I've not trained that much for it. It's just been strictly losing 40 plus pounds, taking all of that extra weight off of my frame has allowed me to move and run and be more athletic. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that with their things like 5Ks. It's like, man, it's a lot easier if you take that 40-pound weight vest off.
Absolutely. Thinking about reverse lunges in the gym, I throw on some extra weights on my back and I put on 40 pounds because that's what I started with. And then I take it off and see what my body feels like now. And it's a struggle throwing that extra weight on, thinking about, well, that was just what I was carrying daily anyways.
Yeah, that's a great experiment, you guys. That is something that a lot of people test out in my gym is, we ask them, how much weight have you lost? Okay, go pick up that weight and just do lunges or just walk or lift it up overhead and hold it. And that, like you said, Nick, it kind of freaks you out. It's like, man, I was just walking around with that all day, 24/7, every day. No wonder I was tired and sick and unhealthy and kind of achy all the time. So that's something for you guys to try for sure at home. All right, I know that Nick's on his lunch break here, so I want to be very considerate of his time. A couple more questions. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give somebody that's listening in, that's just starting out, they're kind of scared to death to get started, they're nervous, kind of like maybe where you were when you did your free week with us, and then you waited 1.5 years before you got launched for real with us. What would you tell somebody that's sitting in that position and they're just, not quite as fired up as they need to be, not as motivated as they need to be, maybe a little bit nervous, maybe a little bit scared?
Yeah, so you got to figure out at your core what's the motivation behind this, because you can try things and you can do a half committal when you just go out and try something. But until you have something that's really driving you, you really got to find that before you can truly be successful, I think. And really, once you've gotten to this point on your own, and if you're trying to make a change, you got to trust other people. So you got to give in, you got to give something 100% before you can decide whether that really truly works or doesn't work for you. And so you can go out and try something and be half-hearted about it, and you're not going to see success. You can go out and try that exact same thing, and if you're giving it your all, you're probably going to see some success. So it's really finding what motivates you and then just going full force at it.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Nick. And a good example I like to give people is, like, let's say there are a couple different programs that you're looking at, and anybody should kind of compare things and see, like you said, the best fit for you. But when you're looking at just price, I feel like that's a huge mistake, because I know people that will do $50 online DVD systems or whatever, and month after month after month, they're paying the $50 to get their new one every 8 weeks or whatever, and they don't get any results. They are just doing something when they need to be accomplishing something. And those are two very different things, where maybe you do a $250 program that's 8 weeks long, you do it once, and you've established lifelong momentum. And there's a big, big difference. So, that is something that I hope hits home for you guys. It's the difference between just doing something. And a lot of times the people that are just doing something, they just want to tell themselves that they're doing something. They want to tell their spouse or their doctor that they're doing something. And then they're not really ready to go after it and get to that commitment level where they want to accomplish something. And that's a big difference. I think I may have just created another podcast topic for myself. All right. That's awesome. Now, Nick, I appreciate you coming on. I want to just acknowledge you for a second, because, you came in ready to go from day one. Day one, a year and a half later. After the first day one, a year and a half later, day one, when you were ready to rock, you were ready to rock. You came in, you were willing to put your ego aside and be coachable. You've been willing to sacrifice your time, your money, your effort, your attention, and your energy in order to reclaim control over your health. And you've just been an absolute pleasure to work with as one of our clients. We call it our gym family here locally. And the best part for you, my man, is we are just getting started with your transformation story. And you've got a lot of things to be excited about in the future. So I'm super, super proud of you, my man.
Thank you very much.
Now, real quick before we go, I always ask people, is there any way that people can follow your story on Instagram or Facebook? I can put links in the bio, or if you want to do any shout outs or anything. So any social media avenues that you want to make sure people can connect with you on, if they have questions about the podcast or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm absolutely welcome to people messaging me, adding me as a friend. We can talk and kind of talk through what you're going through. I'm also on Instagram as well. It's a pretty sweet tag, if I have to say so myself. It's Bragin.stagram. So I don't know why Instagram allowed that to happen, but I'm going to take advantage of that, because that's
I love it. It is.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
And I love to chat with people, so don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Cool. And I'll set those links up in the blog and in the show notes. And so that way you guys can connect with Nick. Now, he's also very active in my free Facebook group, the Defeat the Cheat group. You can go to www.defeatthecheat.com. That's another thing that Nick is really good at, is he stays plugged in. He never just completely goes MIA and checks out. Like he said, he's got some time between programs when he's got live coaching for one of my coaches, but he stays plugged in. So he's posting on the Defeat the Cheat group. He's, on vacation and posting some things that he found that he could eat that were healthy, and sharing tips and asking questions. So it's a great resource. I highly, highly recommend you guys check that out. That's a great place to interact with Nick, and you can see all of his witty posts that he puts up, and great feedback and commentary that he usually has going on a weekly basis with that crew. So you guys can check that out for sure. All right. I think we are good for today. Another interview in the books. I just wanted to give all you guys a shout out. The podcast is getting traction. I'm really, really excited for some of the shows we've got coming up, some of the topics and themes. And I just want to thank you guys for showing your support. If you get a second, it really, really helps me out. If you guys could leave a rating and review on iTunes, especially, that's the big one. And, or I know some people are like anti-Apple. That's okay. You can leave a review on SoundCloud as well. Also, if you are on iTunes on your iPhone and you are listening to the podcast, right next to the episode, there are 3 little dots. If you click on that and hit share podcast, you can share it to your Facebook feed and say, hey, I just listened to this awesome interview with Adam and Nick. They rocked it. It was inspirational, and you guys should check it out too. That would be super helpful as well. It just helps us increase our rankings in the old iTunes rankings, which helps us get our message in front of more people, which is a great thing. That's why I'm doing this. So I appreciate you guys that are sending comments, leaving reviews, connecting with me on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. I appreciate the energy that we're going back and forth here. And as always, I want to encourage you to get out there and own it every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode.
Hey guys, before you go, real quick, I wanted to ask one more time if you guys got something out of this episode, if it gave you some motivation, some inspiration, and you're able to initiate a little bit of momentum, I would greatly appreciate a rating and a review on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and even if you could share the episode on Facebook, give me a shout out on Facebook or Instagram. It makes a huge difference. That's the best ways to support this show and my efforts and get the word out there. Help me promote the show, impact more people. As you guys know, my methods and the way I think and the way that I coach is a little bit different, right? And I want to get the word out there. I want to help more people, and you guys can help me do that. So again, a rating and review on iTunes and or SoundCloud, and a quick share on Facebook would be greatly appreciated. If you guys are listening to this on your phone, if you're on your iTunes account listening to it, you can look at the bottom right side of your screen. There'll be 3 little dots. You can click on that and it'll say share. And you can blast it to your Facebook page and just say, hey, check this guy out. He's a little bit crazy. He's a little bit high energy, but he has something that's a little bit different. I think it might interest you guys. It might help you out. It might make a difference with your own transformation. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the energy. I'm so excited about where we are taking things with this podcast. And I'm just glad to be in this relationship with you guys. So thank you. I will see you on the next episode.